For this lecture, we're going to focus on how libraries build effective collections teams by bringing together the right people, the right skills, and the right organizational structures. Collection management success does not happen by accident. It requires thoughtful alignment between human capital, professional competencies, and institutional design. In this presentation, we'll look closely at the professional qualities that define strong collections librarians, the structures that support their work, the ethical frameworks that guide decision making, and the planning processes that sustain collections over time. As we move forward, keep in mind that effective collections work is both strategic and deeply human. Here we see the essential attributes that characterize effective collections librarians. First, there are core professional commitments. Strong collections librarians demonstrate a consistent commitment to change, to high quality service, and to professional standards. This commitment allows them to navigate evolving formats, budgets, and user expectations without losing focus. Next is a strategic mindset. Collections librarians must think creatively while maintaining long term vision. Their decisions are not isolated purchases, but part of a broader strategy aligned with institutional goals. Another critical attribute is personal resilience. Collections work often involves ambiguity, uncertainty, and difficult trade offs. Successful librarians embrace flexibility and remain comfortable making decisions even when information is incomplete. The intellectual foundation is equally important. Intellectual curiosity, analytical reasoning, and resourcefulness enable librarians to evaluate materials critically and make informed decisions. Finally, interpersonal dynamics matter. Collections librarians must communicate effectively and understand organizational and political contexts, especially when working with faculty, administrators, vendors, and community stakeholders. Now the focus shifts to how collections work is structured and managed within organizations. Collection responsibilities are distributed differently depending on a library's organizational model. Some libraries use centralized structures where a single unit oversees most collection decisions. Others rely on decentralized models where subject specialists embedded in departments make localized choices. Each approach affects workflow efficiency and the depth of subject expertise. The slide also introduces the idea of the mastery curve. Expertise in collection development grows over time through formal education combined with hands-on experience. As librarians encounter diverse selection scenarios and build relationships, their decision-making becomes more nuanced and confident. To manage workload effectively, libraries may use tools such as the METS formula, which considers the number of academic departments served, faculty size, order volume, available budgets, and subject complexity. These factors help ensure that responsibilities are distributed realistically and sustainably. Now we are moving us into ethics and evaluation, two areas that are inseparable from collections work. Collections librarians operate within a complex ethical environment. They must manage vendor relationships transparently, avoid personal bias, and uphold intellectual freedom, even when faced with external pressure or controversy. Ethical practice ensures that collections represent diverse perspectives and serve the entire community. Performance evaluation in collections work focuses on collection quality, not just activity. Success is measured by how well collections meet current needs, anticipate future demands, and maintain appropriate balance and depth. Another important area is outreach impact. Effective collections librarians build strong relationships with faculty and community members, understand evolving needs, and actively promote resources. Finally, fiscal responsibility is central. Librarians must steward budgets carefully, negotiate effectively, demonstrate return on investment, and maintain accountability through transparent financial practices. These policies serve as the foundation for all selection activities. They act as blueprints, translating institutional values into clear decision-making frameworks. Policies also provide community accountability. When materials are challenged or budgets are questioned, policies demonstrate that decisions are grounded in established principles rather than individual preferences. We see the outlines here as the key components of strong policies, including selection criteria, commitments to diversity, standards for electronic resources, guidelines for weeding and gifts, and formal procedures for handling challenged materials. Together, these elements ensure consistency, transparency, and professional integrity. Now, our focus turns to collection development policy statements. These policies serve as the foundation for all selection activities. They act as blueprints, translating institutional values into clear decision making frameworks. Policies also provide community accountability. When materials are challenged or budgets are questioned, policies demonstrate that decisions are grounded in established principles rather than individual preferences. Here we see the outlines for key components of strong policies, including selection criteria, commitments to diversity, standards for electronic resources, guidelines for weeding and gifts, and formal procedures for handling challenged materials. Together, these elements ensure consistency, transparency, and professional integrity. Finally, we are addressing budgeting and fiscal management, one of the most demanding aspects of collections work. Effective budgeting requires strategic resource allocation across subject areas, formats such as print and digital, user groups, and collection types. Every allocation decision involves balancing immediate needs with long term sustainability. Fiscal accountability means tracking expenditures accurately and demonstrating value through metrics such as cost per use and documented impact on teaching and research. We need to acknowledge the ongoing serials crisis, driven by escalating journal costs. Libraries are responding with strategies such as open access initiatives, consortial licensing, transformative agreements, and evidence based acquisition models to maintain access while controlling costs. To conclude, building effective collections teams requires far more than technical expertise. It depends on skilled professionals, ethical judgment, thoughtful organizational structures, strategic planning, and responsible financial stewardship. When these elements work together, libraries are better equipped to build collections that are sustainable, inclusive, and responsive to the communities they serve.